Oh goodness, that so-called Unite the Right rally, it happened over the weekend, and there were a few people that were, they identified themselves with the same identity politic standards as the far left. White supremacists, a few of them came out shouting from the mountaintops, progressives were, that it was proof positive that every single person who ever voted for Donald Trump or liked anything that he did, and every conservative was in league with racity McRacists who do racist things because of racism. Hilariously, the entire turnout for this group of losers amounted to pretty much like tens of dudes. That's about it. And then they actually left early from the accounts that I've read, but Antifa didn't. The counter-protests, though, they were huge. The counter-protest is a really interesting way to describe all of this, by the way, because from all appearances, it seemed less like countering anything at all. It actually looked more like an excuse for Antifa thugs to do what they always do, which is to be violent and swear that their violence is protected speech and that it's justified because they're stopping fascism. So you fight fascism with fascism, right? You condemn violence with violence. Take a look here where CNN's own banner refers to these Antifa agents as well as Black Lives Matter protesters as quote-unquote anti-hate groups. You guys want to see what anti-hate looks like? Because in the video that we see, a fight broke out between so-called Antifa anti-hate representatives and two members of the police who were called in to protect them. And I mean, they swarmed him. And you see the officers there with their reflective vests. He gets one off the ground, then another one gets in the distance, is taken down. My goodness, does that look like you're fighting fascism, or are you part of fascism? Are you being fascistic? Now, in this one, these totally peaceful Antifa anti-hate members, they're actually throwing eggs at Secret Service agents, and they're saying a whole bunch of other crazy things too.
Secret Service is trying to clear the way.
I mean, it doesn't. They're violent, and no one else in the group condemns it or tries to de-escalate the situation. Oh, and here is an Antifa thug assaulting an NBC reporter simply because they were covering the protests. He's just walking. Like, every word out of this guy's mouth is an expletive, so it's almost impossible for us to play the audio for you. Destroying property. And then there was a CBS reporter too, or sorry, ABC reporter that had the cord from their camera cut to prevent filming all of their anti-hate, right? Protesters didn't want to be filmed and they cut my photographer's audio cable cord, right? These are far from the only examples, by the way, but the media, these are not reflective of the entire left of center coalition. Tim Mack offered nuance about the violence, saying, quote, "The vast majority of counter-protesters were peaceful demonstrators opposing white supremacists. A small group of Antifa were also present at a different site. Neither CNN nor other news networks are referring to Antifa when they characterize the counter-protesters broadly."